What would happen, Hafiz asks in one of his poems, what would happen if God leaned down and gave you a full, wet kiss? Hafiz doesn't mind answering astronomical questions like that. You would surely start reciting all day inebriated rogue poems like this. Devotional poets like Hafiz have known it for centuries. Loving God with your mind and heart, and loving another human being's body with your body, share more than the word love. Loving a body with a body can get you back for an instant to that experience of oneness that mystics believe is the truth of our existence, can shatter the illusion of separateness, perhaps only for moments, but in those moments you're outside time and space, aren't you? This is heaven, we can know. This experience, this radical stepping outside our ordinary lives, this is the real reason sex is a power so frightening that families and religions and governments have tried down the ages to control it. In sex, when we are very open and very lucky, we taste the divine oneness. We return to a place that, in most of our lives moving through time and space, we barely remember exists. Stepping outside time and space, knowing beyond mind that we are one with the life force, this is the mystical experience. One I've also found available in Zen meditation, when I pay attention to the breath flowing into and out of my body, when I open the hand of thought. In our whole lives, the Unitarian Universalist Lifespan Sexuality curriculum, we teach that all of life is sacred, including our sexuality. And I want to draw your attention to a blog on our UUCAVA website in which June Harold looks at the opera Der Rosenkavalier through a lifespan sexuality owl out lens. In OWL, we teach that because our sexual lives are sacred, we handle them with great care and respect. If we enter into a sexual relationship with another person, the other person must also be treated with great care and respect, including open communication and rigorous truth-telling. Intimate relationships are so very complex. Forget a big love style arrangement. One-on-one is as much as most of us can handle responsibly. Elizabeth Whale wrote last December in the New York Times Magazine about a project she and her husband undertook to improve their already pretty good marriage. They worked on communication skills, dug up buried resentments, and reconfigured their division of responsibilities for the household and the kids. But it was when they began to work on sex that things got particularly interesting, and I'm talking theoretically here. In researching the topic, Whale discovered contradictory schools of thought. One was that couples generally can open to each other easily and create that experience of oneness because of the time they spend together learning to trust one another. A completely opposite view was that once early intimacy is established, couples throw up walls to protect themselves from that dangerously unitive experience. I would call it the experience of touching the divine. And then they settle. They settle into a boring but safe sexual routine. It's ironic, isn't it, that the experience of taking down all the walls can be easier with a stranger or in a low commitment relationship than it can be sometimes with one's dearest companion. How to keep the walls down in the midst of intimacy's inevitable negotiations and compromises. This is a question for a couple to work on through a lifetime together. Part of what Whale discovered in her own marriage was the continual dance to establish separateness in the midst of unity, or unity in the midst of separateness. How much distance was right? Was that urge to run away after intimacy, what was that? Was that about the need to reestablish separateness? Was it, and these are my words, not hers, was it a need to re-enter time and space after a moment of ecstasy? Ecstasy, by the way, the root meaning is moving out of stasis, or could be thought of as moving out of oneself. Reading Whale's piece, I was reminded of Rainer Maria Wilke's gorgeous description of mature human love in marriage that he wrote in Letters to a Young Poet as the love that consists in this: the two solitudes protect and border and greet each other. We are separate, and we are one. We live within this great paradox. This is human life. When Kate Braestrup told that joke about the jihadist in heaven, she was using it as a lead-in to a sad story from her own life as a chaplain in the Maine game warden's office. She had found herself consoling a young woman whose 17-year-old boyfriend had gotten drunk, walked into a pond, and drowned. What if I live to be 80 and I meet him in heaven and he's still 17? She tearfully asked her chaplain, will we still be together, and how will that work? The truth is, none of us knows about the afterlife, how it could possibly work. What we know is what works here on earth. We know that love is what we are on earth for. We know that ecstasy is a grace that we may taste but not possess. We know that our most intimate relationships are a chance for daily practice in loving rigorously and generously. We know that our responsibility as the separate beings that we are and as the connected unity that we are, our responsibility is to be careful and loving with ourselves, with one another, and with this great gift of being human. And, in the words of Hafiz, to whisper, I love you, I love you, I love you, to the whole mad world. Amen.